Hello everyone, Jul here. While making the best turn-based JRPG games last week, an idea just suddenly came through my mind, and that is why we never talk about JRPGs that have the best story. I know this is a very subjective question because each person perceives stories or narrative in their own way, but I believe this is a harmless idea that can be a good reference for you out there who's probably looking for the best JRPGs to play right now. And to avoid any spoilers, I will try my best to not discussing too far about the plot or character development, so I hope you can enjoy the video more as references than as a full review of its story. But before we go into the list, I want to introduce you to the best platform for buying games in this modern era, and it's called instant gaming. Instant gaming is the perfect place for you to shop in games these days. Your transactions are legit, fast, and their supports are ready 24/7, so you don't need to worry about anything. Do you think I was done? Not even close. They have lots of games for your favorite platforms, and they have the best deals as well. Instead of cutting your budget for dinner to buy new games, why not try instant gaming and eat healthy as well? All you have to do is just click my link in the description below, start searching for your favorite games, and use the activation code on your chosen platforms. By using my link, you're not only saving tons of money, but also helping me to support this channel. Alright then, let's get back into the list. The Legend of Dragoon is a cult classic with a deep fanbase, often remembered for its emotionally rich narrative, unique combat system, and ambitious scope. Set in the vast war-torn world of Andiness, the story spans generations, involving ancient races, long-forgotten wars, and the fate of the planet itself. But what elevates the narrative is how it gradually evolves from a simple revenge plot into a multi-layered epic involving reincarnation, forbidden powers, and the haunting burden of history.
Volcano!
Tales of the Abyss is not just one of the best games in the Tales series. It's a JRPG masterclass in character development, thematic depth, and narrative transformation. The game begins with what feels like a stereotypical JRPG setup. Luke, a spoiled noble confined to a mansion, finds himself thrust into a world he doesn't understand. Luke begins the game as one of the most unlikable protagonists in JRPG history, and that's intentional. The brilliance of the story lies in how it dismantles and rebuilds him, and after a massive reveal later on in the story, the game turns from a fantasy adventure into an existential drama.
Too easy! The feature guards them. Take this!
Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is a new RPG that has captivated players and critics alike with its profound narrative, innovative mechanics, and distinctive artistic vision. The gameplay innovation is impressive, but the storytelling is what actually makes this game phenomenal. The way they portray the despair and hopelessness of the expedition is perfect, especially with the mind-blowing plot twist near the end of the game that elevate the narrative to a whole new level. Dragon Quest V is a generational saga that explores themes rarely touched with such grace in the genre. Unlike most JRPGs that follow a young hero who saves the world story, Dragon Quest V is structured more like a life simulation through a fantasy perspective. The story follows the protagonist from childhood to adulthood and eventually to fatherhood, but it doesn't stop there. Your protagonist is enslaved for years, and how you rebuild your life is depend on your choices. Final Fantasy VI is not just one of the greatest JRPGs of all time. It is one of the greatest video games ever made and arguably the high point of 16-bit storytelling. The game tells the story of a world on the brink of destruction. It opens not with a hero, but with a mind-controlled soldier named Terra, whose identity and purpose are unclear even to herself. Instead of centering around a single chosen protagonist, Final Fantasy VI offers an ensemble cast, each with their own trauma, motivations, and arcs. Tactics Ogre is a towering achievement in moral storytelling, political realism, and narrative choice. From the start, you're presented with grey morality. The war between the Wallister, Bakram, and Galgastani factions isn't driven by evil sorcerers or demonic overlords, but by ethnic conflict, nationalism, and revenge. Unlike many JRPGs where the casts are archetypes, Tactics Ogre gives you a cast of ideologically driven, wounded individuals. These aren't heroes, they're people, traumatized by war, struggling with doubt, and torn between love and duty. Suikoden 2 is widely hailed as one of the greatest JRPGs of all time, not because of flashy graphics or revolutionary mechanics, but because of its emotional storytelling and massive cast of nuanced characters. It delivers a tale of friendship, betrayal, and war that feels more intimate and real than almost any game in the genre. At the heart of it lies one of gaming's most powerful, tragic relationships. What begins as brotherly love becomes painful opposition, as your partner gradually sacrifices his ideals and soul to unify the land. On the surface, Chrono Trigger is the story of a silent protagonist who stumbles through a time portal and finds himself trying to prevent the apocalypse. However, it evolves quickly into a deep interwoven tale across 7 different time periods, each reflecting different civilizations, struggles, and legacies. You don't just save the world, you live in its past, fight for its present, and reshape its future. There's no wasted time in this game. Every detour, dungeon, and era add to the full narrative where themes of fate, agency, and redemption all interlock. At a glance, NieR Automata is a game about androids fighting alien-created machines on a post-apocalyptic Earth. But as you progress further into the game, the story becomes something else entirely. Instead of one linear tale, the narrative spirals inward, forcing you to reinterpret everything you thought you knew. Every road is important to fully explain the depth of its narrative, which kind of forces you to clear all of them in order to achieve the true essence of its story.
Laser communications recovered.
Unlike most JRPGs that ask you to save the world, Persona 4 asks you to save people. It's not just a story about heroes or villains, it's a story about growing up and seeing others for who they really are, and about the courage to live honestly in a complicated world. Persona 4 also has some of the best plot twists in the JRPG storytelling, and the fact that you can miss the true ending proves that the developer really cared about how you approach the story.
Throw down! Damn, it's not going down!
Turn to scarlet! So persistent!
Final Fantasy VIII is one of the most misunderstood yet narratively bold entries in the Final Fantasy series. At the heart of the game lies a deceptively simple premise. Squall Leonhard, an emotionally walled-off teenager, is forced to lead others through a geopolitical war that evolves into a war against time itself. The setting leans into a semi-modern military academy dystopia, with gardens, seats, and a warped political infrastructure. The game also has one of the most intriguing endings in the franchise, especially with many theories that are never confirmed till this day. Trails series is easily my favorite JRPGs of all time. Not only because it has so many interesting characters and enjoyable gameplay, but it has the best world-building design in the entire JRPG genre. You'll often meet characters from previous entries and sometimes even foreshadowing future important characters that you have no idea with at the start. You'll be surprised with how many plot twists that occurred in the series, and not to mention the epic boss battles that will pump your adrenaline to the absolute limit. In the pantheon of JRPG storytelling, few titles manage to achieve the gravity and sophistication of Final Fantasy Tactics. While it bears the Final Fantasy name, its soul is closer to the epics of Shakespeare and Machiavelli than to traditional tales of crystals and destinies. The story unfolds in the aftermath of a massive war, where a fragile peace is torn apart by a succession crisis. What follows is a labyrinthine tale of noble houses vying for power, secret cults manipulating history, and commoners caught in the cruel churn of dynastic ambition. The Xenoblade Chronicles series is a titan among modern JRPGs, not only for its vast open worlds and innovative combat, but for its philosophically charged, emotionally resonant storytelling. What sets this series apart is not just the scale of its worlds, but the depth of its ideas. These are games that dare to ask big questions like escaping fate, the definition of God, or even the existence of life itself. Each entry builds a standalone tale that contributes to a broader cosmic narrative that becomes increasingly interconnected, culminating in a payoff few RPG trilogies ever achieved. Long before Xenoblade Chronicles dared to ask questions about godhood and fate, Xenogears already posed those same questions. At its surface, Xenogears is a story about war and mysterious machines called gears. But from its earliest moments, it becomes clear that the game is operating on a different plane entirely. Its true story is one of reincarnation, religion, and the cyclical violence born from humanity's quest to understand itself and its creators. Xenogears is not a game that will bring a tale of chosen heroes. Instead, it wants to dissect the very foundations of belief systems, psychological identity, and existential fear. Alright boys, I think that's it for today. I know that there are other JRPGs that I haven't mentioned yet, so how about sharing your best story JRPGs that probably deserve a spot in the comment section below. Don't forget to like the video and make sure to subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss another great list. Thank you for watching and have a good day. Peace!
Storm is coming.